Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. As a lot of you are probably aware, one of the best ways to get better within Black Ops 6 ranked play is to watch people better than you. And who else better to watch than currently Atlanta Faze, the #1 seeded CDL team within the CDL, of course. They do a lot of things that I'm hoping we're going to be able to replicate in ranked play, and there's going to be a bunch of things they're going to be able to teach us through today's video. They win 250 to 137 against Vancouver Surge in the grand finals of Major 2, and we're going to be looking at what we can take from the way Atlanta Faze play into our own gameplay to hopefully just become maybe as successful as Faze in ranked play when we next jump in. Before we get into it, scoreboards are as so is a clear outslayer on the side of Atlanta Faze. A lot of pretty much all green there apart from Abizi on this particular map, which obviously helps the situation. Points wise, you can see here that Faze run away with it. There's a couple of hills where Faze have a little bit of a stagnant. That 7th hill, I think Faze pretty much get near nothing. But yeah, Faze consistently seem to get a decent amount of hill time at each. So we're going to be looking at those. But then taking a look at this here, you can see there's a considerable amount of hills where Faze have the most amount of points won. On the right where it says ×1, the red are where Faze are better off. The blue tealy color is where Surge are better off. And you can see there are tons of hills where Faze managed to get 20, 30, sometimes 46 points. And there's actually a hill we're going to learn from Surge as well, that was second P3, where they get 51 points to stop Faze from getting anything at all. So we're going to kick it off into gameplay. We're going to be doing a little bit of a focus on those particular hills where we see a lot of success in the gameplay from that scoreboard. So yeah, let's see how we get on. Let's jump into Hacienda Hardpoint.
Out with a swift 4-0 in a grand final, Surge.
The first thing I want to point out is how, and I hope you like this new format, by the way, save me going in and out of the minimap here. Seattle Surge have got a relatively narrow line of sight into P1, and they actually come out with 15 more seconds of hill time than Faze do on this hill. But it's worth bearing in mind that Faze have to probably somewhat sacrifice a bit of P1 time to keep the spawns on P2 side, which is where #3 is, whereas Surge can just keep hitting the hill, try and push through, keep hitting the hill, try and push through, which usually means that they get a better bit of P1 time than the people spawning on this right-hand side are. But yeah, offense-wise off the rip, Faze have got a relatively balanced approach, whereas Surge completely show the opposite and just 4-stack in middle.
Maybe the first step.
So you can see a triple chow open there, which is a really nice play if you're ever in a team and you want to make sure the top is clear, enabling you to get on the point freely. Triple chow on top middle with 3 AIs. You can see them all over here. Really nice way of clearing this top area and enabling your team to just hop on the hill for free, pretty much. So yeah, Surge end up, as I say, with 15 more points than Faze on this hill. Really nice work from Simp there. Borshi does get traded out. And you can see Jars is sort of playing his life. He's sort of playing this side, and because he's not pushed up any like aggression, his team continued to spawn behind him. Once his team starts spawning in, he enables the push up, managed to get some hill time here. But it's a hard hill. It's a hard hill to keep a lot of hill time from here. Does manage to get a couple of kills, but unfortunately does fall. Now there's 20 seconds left. You can see here Surge have got 14 to 8. But you can see how much Faze have to sort of focus towards P2. Player #1 spawns out because of player 6 positioning. You can see Faze are forced now at this point to go all the way around towards P2, and that's often why they don't get as much hill time. Now going into P2, Faze get 38 points and Surge get 10. So we're going to have a look and see what Faze do really well here. This is one of their highest scoring hills on this map. And the first thing you can see going, pretty much into the hill already, how much focus Faze has on the new hill compared to Surge. Surge, I think, left a lot of rock control and decided to hit through middle, which I don't mind, but it's allowed Faze to get there first. The fact that they're playing for the spawn rather than the hill is obviously a good thing. But as I say, it allows Faze to get there first, and it's probably why they're relatively successful at this hill. So you can instantly see there, as soon as they obtain the hill time, you can see Celium, player #4, is looking out towards rock. So he's got this area covered. Player #3 has got the well side covered. Player #1 has got lobby, and player #2 is also sort of coming back round to support that lobby. So whilst they've got an AR looking front, you can see the other 3 players are nowhere near the hill, or at least not looking anywhere near the objective at all. That's because they know playing for these spawns are so important. So if there's one thing you take away from this in today's video, and implement into your ranked play game, is that should be the way. When you have an AR sat on Lambo like we've got here, the rest of your team should really be focused on the left hand side, and then just you're playing off comms at that point. But yeah, it's a real good initial hold from Faze here. Fortunately, they do get picked off. But Selim's been able to play his life, and because of the amount of aggression his team Faze was showing towards middle, has allowed Selim to just chill here, pick up some kills. They have to run into this doorway. They're not quite sure where Selim's going to be. He's just holding this eye, and these are pretty much kills he should be able to guarantee. And again, Faze continues to spawn out. I think spawn in, sorry. Yeah, you can see here how focused Faze are and how focused Surge are to get around the back, and that's because they understand the back spawn is really beneficial here. But they've got to get through Simp, who's arguably one of the best subs in the league. It gets to 25 seconds. You can see Faze start to disperse. So this is them rotating. Okay, this isn't necessarily them going directly to the new hill, but what they're doing is releasing this back spawn over here, allowing Surge to get around the back. After all this time, Faze are going to allow them to get around. Faze are then going to focus front, and they're going to have the better spawns going into P3.
Not the best for them. It's really rock where they could be lights out, but that's a great P2 despite the fact he goes 3 down.
So yeah, a really good push from Surge to break that, but you're only running 15 seconds at the end of the day. I think they get 10 seconds from this at this point. But because of how late they pushed and because of how well Faze did at releasing that spawn and rotating to that hill early on, you've now got Surge spawn in at the old hill, whereas Faze are pretty much set up at the new. So it's a really good rotation from Faze there, and something I think we should definitely learn from going into Hacienda Hardpoint next time. Now, Harrz has understood what needs to happen here. He's managed to leak around the back, get the first few kills. And meanwhile, whilst all this is happening, you've got AR players sat in the back of grass here, just forcing Surge to spawn all the way out. So going into P3, you've got 2 players sort of watching the flank, 1 blocking the spawn. You've got a player in Harrz being a little bit mixing the player getting time. And because they've got players back grass pushed up a little bit through middle, Surge are now having to spawn all the way out here. And they've got to get through Harrz. Their head's thinking about this player here before they even get to the objective. So a really nice play from Harrz, just being really difficult to kill and really, really annoying. Again, he's just being that really annoying player to come against. And you can see during this whole time, Selim is watching the pinch. And that's not because he's useless or he's gone completely AFK. That's simply due to the fact that he's blocking the spawn and he's watching the pinch. If Surge somehow sends someone around the left, it's an easy way to break the objective. Selim's playing this role here really well, blocking, making sure they can't get round. And that's something you don't see enough when you're playing ranked play. Someone willing to do that, especially this early into the objective. And then you've only got 1 player on time. Notice that you've got 1 player on time. Harrz has got control of sort of shed side. You've got number 2 in Abizi sort of holding platform. Real good spread from Faze, and this is sort of where you should have your 4 players, give or take, when you're playing P3. Someone shed, someone sort of top platform area, someone back grass, and then someone on time, just soaking up the hill.
Pressure continues to be on Surge to break. Harrz though starting to streak a bit. The timing on the route looks like it's going to.
So yeah, you can see because due to how far Harrz have pushed up, you've actually forced Surge to spawn in behind them. So whether that was intentional or not, I'm not sure. I don't think it would have been based on how far Selim is playing backwards here. But it enables him to get a free kill. Not quite split the spawn. So this is a really bloody good play from Cell there. So Cell was understood they've spawned in. He's playing his life really well. You can see where he is on the minimap. He's like low vault sort of area. And although Faze start to spawn out, Cell knows how important these back spawns are for not only this hill, but for rotation into the new objective. Spawning grass here makes it so much easier to rotate over towards P4 compared to spawning at the fences over here. But Cell plays his life. He's blocked play number 4 here. Cell plays his life really effectively as Surge player starts to spawn in. And because Cell's position is all the way over here, Surge are now getting split spawns. They were spawning here. Cell stayed alive. They're now spawning out here. And that's all because of Cell's position. This is a hard block area next to this hedge. This is a hard block area stopping Surge from spawning in. And as long as Faze leave this lobby area open, Surge are going to continue to spawn out. So you can see Selim reacts. I'm still looking at this number 4. Selim reacts to player number 3 spawning in. He then progresses towards the objective because he knows he's secured that spawn. And again, player number 3's backtracked a little bit because he's understood that Surge players are dying, so they need to block the spawn. Really, really good fundamental COD from Faze here. This is insane. Obviously, this is a pro team, which is why it's such a good example. And this is the best pro team currently in the game right now. So Neptune actually dies first there out of the 4 deaths we've just seen. But thankfully, due to Cellium, again, playing his life and not dying, he's somewhat making this spawn back here unavailable for Neptune to spawn. So he forces Neptune to spawn well. Cellium playing his life allows his team to spawn in behind him. Really, really good spawn manipulation from Cellium there. Whether it's instinctive or not, probably is at this point based on how frequently they play. But again, you've got a really good setup going into P4, of which Faze get 27 more points than Surge on this objective. And again, that's because they had the better spawns, Cell played his life really well at Hedges, and they've rotated relatively simply over towards Rock, as you could do from this left-hand side. So they're not quite controlling the spawn here. What's interesting is Draz has decided that he needs to make sure that that's being picked up, and he's looking for that player. But the general setup here, you can see they're not really sure what's happening. You've got play number 3 pushed out quite aggressively towards Garage. You've got play number 1 making sure they can't get pinched from this left-hand side. And you've got 2 players sat on the hill watching the middle. The important thing here, and what you normally see when you're playing ranked play, is you have 4 people sat on the hill. But you don't need that to be the case. You don't have to have whoever's watching this left-hand side towards boat can be top office, they can be Hedges. Whoever's watching Garage can be pushed through towards Garage. You don't need everybody in the objective. So yeah, that's what Faze are doing. They're forcing player number 3 on 1 to have gunfights before Surge even get anywhere near the objective. Yeah, Draz managed to catch a player off guard, and because of his position, any kills Faze get now are going to spawn Surge lobby.
Dealing with it okay so far, but you go 2 for 2.
And now we know where they're coming from. Now Faze know exactly which direction Surge are going to be coming from because of the way they're spawning. Unfortunately, they do lose the initial gunfights, which result in Surge getting a decent amount of map control. But that's really nice teamwork. You've got Cellium playing his life, waiting for the team to back him up. You've got Simp running in there from the side, alerting all of the Surge players to careful, I'm here. And then whilst Simp is being really annoying, getting a good amount of damage output, somewhat playing his life, although he is on 9 HP, he allows the rest of his team take a 3v2 on the objective whilst they're distracted by him. So really good play there from this sub player, waiting for his team, allows his team to push, forces the Surge focus to go towards the rest of the team, and then he pounces and cleans up, leaving it in a 1v1, of which I believe he wins. Yeah, a BZ. Good kill. And instantly, you can see here, if you look at Draza, the AR player, where is he off to? He's instantly pulling back, forcing the lobby spawn for Surge, jumping on the objective, and he's already set up around P1, looking over top closed, and allowing his subs to just rain free top mid here. So again, they're not leaving spawns up to the random. Every time Surge are getting killed, you've got one of their AR players or someone on the AR or anyone on Faze pulling back a little bit and just forcing the Surge spawn to a particular area so it's easier to read. At this point, they're not fighting for the better spawns because it's relatively new into the hill. Yeah, really nice play from Faze so far. As you can tell, they're winning by quite a substantial amount. So player number 7 is actually the player that's causing Faze to spawn back Tim, which is the furthest possible for him from P2.
That's probably not good.
By the way, Faze get success. Faze get on this game more time on every hill apart from the first P1 and the last P3. They play really, really well. This is why it's hopefully a good example for you guys to hopefully learn something from the better players. So you can see they're not really too much worried about the guy in P1 just yet. They get the hill time, and what's really nice here, they get the kills and they leave the person who's the furthest back to collect the time. These 3, they got the kills, they got a decent amount of map control, and they are flooding the new objective. This next hill, Faze get 46 seconds and Surge get 0. So this is going to be a really nice example of what they're able to do. But yeah, what's nice here is they've understood Draza spawn behind them, or Draza's coming from behind. They've just opened up the map, getting a bunch of kills towards middle, and they're just spearheading through mid. They're like, right, let's take this map control. It's a 3v2 in this area. Let's take this map control, allow Draza to get on the time behind us, and really put pressure on the no objective already. So they've done that really nicely there. Playing ranked play, what you'd find there, people get kills and they just sit around the middle still. They sit around the middle, whoever's on time stays on time, and they don't allow the player behind them to bump them off. That's something I think a lot of people can learn from on any map mode, really, playing on Hardpoint. Sorry, not on any mode. So these kills are really important for Surge. They need to really try and get these kills here. Unfortunately, Abizi does enough damage for Selim to pick up the pieces, and he knows exactly where they're coming from. But because of Draza's position coming off P1, he allows the pinch. And now we're looking pretty good. So let's see the setup. Again, very, very similar. You've got a player looking front already, but the rest of the team are very much focused on the lobby and fence push. And that's because at this pro level, they understand that getting the back spawn is vital. Now, this isn't necessarily a tactic that you can directly translate to ranked play, because you'll have players playing ranked play who don't necessarily focus on the spawn too much, and they're just far happier just banging out front over and over again. But it's all about playing for that info. The pros are aware that their Surge's main direction are going to be coming from this back lobby to try and get the spawns, so they're playing for that. However, if you're understanding that the players you're playing against tend to just bash the front out over and over and over again, you probably should have a couple more people focused front, but still have some people watching the back. The important thing here is nothing is open at this point. There's no way for Surge to get to the objective without someone on Faze seeing. You've got someone blocking the spawn, you've got a player on the hill, you've got a player playing between, you know, trying to cut off the lanes, and you've got Draza pushing up, trying to spawn Surge all the way out and also cutting the front lane. So again, they're not all sat on the objective. Oh, that's really awkward timing from Draza.
Picks up for a second and wraps back. I don't know if anyone's picked it up yet. That's been an opening now for Neptune to push on forward.
You can see how much focus there is on this back spawn.
You had nearly a perfect P2 last time through, doing it
And because they've just managed to kill Abuser, they've just jumped on the objective, and it's pretty good. But again, you can instantly see here, even when they get enough kills, you've got a massive spread of control over the map. They've got someone watching left, someone watching middle, 2 people watching right now. This is what we should be seeing in ranked play if you want good success, especially on P2. They've rotated, and not only just sat on the hill, but they've rotated and held correctly. They're forcing Surge to take on gunfights before they even get to the objective, meaning that the objective is that much easier to hold. Good teamwork. Surge actually get, because they've given up a lot of time around P2 here and then rotate early, Surge actually get 51 seconds on this new hill, and Faze get 0. So we're going to actually be taking a little bit of a focus away from Faze into Surge going into this objective and seeing what they do exceptionally well. So as it pops, where do we have players? We've got a player plat, a player pushed out well, a player on time, and a player watch the pinch. So again, every area is covered. There's no way Faze can get round without someone on Surge at least seeing them before they get to the hill.
And then they're winning those gunfights. Finally, you have a setup early if you are Surge.
Nice. And they're having to check corners. 04 gets a massive 3-piece, which obviously helps.
This is Rocker, I think. Maybe that's that one play.
And player number 6 instantly goes to cut the map. This is really nice. So player number 6 in Abuser understands that player number 8 was blocking the well spawns, goes to collect the people at spawns and does die, but at least allows that pressure. So now everyone running up these stairs is going to be weak, allowing Neptune to get a couple of kills. Neptune plays his life. Really nice. But Faze continued to spawn back here, which is probably good going into P5, going into P4. But for P3, Surge know exactly where they're spawning. They can choke them back into this garden area and be really, really frustrating to play against. So these are just really good gunfights won. Really good gunfights won. Let's see if they read this flip, though. They do. So I think this is a really, really big brain play. So Abuser understands the spawn so well, and he's aware of where his teammates are positioned so well, he's been able to pick up this pinch. But again, you look at the minimap, nowhere's really left uncovered, even at this point, even 22 seconds going into P4.
It was just such a massive hole. But on a map like this, you can string together some hard points, Joe.
But there's 13 seconds left of the hill, and there's no one on Surge who is focusing on the new objective. Now, the problem is they've just killed 3 Atlanta Faze players who are all going to spawn up and just go to new. So Surge really need to crank the boots now and go to new, which is obviously what you're seeing here. So now it's a bit of a foot race. They should get to here before.
6 straight for Neptune, right back to his 7 for him. Trying to pick up all sides, not able to get the hell.
Okay, P4 pops, and there's only 2 players of the Surge side on this objective at the moment. Now you'll notice how that hold didn't work as effectively. It's because they played so tight to the objective. When we take a look at how Faze prepared for P4, it's vastly different. They had a couple people on time. They had someone pushed out Harrz. They had someone pushed out Hedge. They had time to do that because they rotated early enough. The fact that Surge left it so late to come off of P3 to get to P4 hasn't enabled the best setup. If we take a look at what setup they did have and how they got broken, yeah, you've got two players almost like back to back in the hill, which is actually not a bad strategy. It's, considering they've got barely any players here, that's not the worst thing in the world. You've got someone watching middle and player number 5. You've got player number 7 watching the front. Not bad. You just need the help quicker, and I think they just simply get outnumbered. But these are just such default spots where Faze are just going to check this because there's someone in a corner here. It's where you're going to check, and they don't have the backing of their team. It just allows Faze to break through.
And that might have been Surge's back broken as they get into.
So yeah, I think Surge do keep this mixy. I think Faze only get 9 seconds more than Surge on this objective. And because Faze, and you can see Faze have had to sort of turtle into the objective here. They haven't really had time to prepare and get fully set up because of the pressure Surge of replying here. But you've still got a player number 3 here who's settled. Simp settled. He's like, right, you guys, all you need to watch is front. I have your whole pinch. Blah 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 blah. And you can see that's sort of what he did there. Took his time a little bit. But as soon as he understood his teammates need help, he stepped on the gas and helped out. Yeah, we go into P1 here. And you can see instantly where player number 2's decided to head. Whereas Surge are still so focused on the old hill. Player number 2 is already thinking about new. Leaving old, getting through, getting map control. Yes, he loses the gunfight, but that's a really good fundamental play we can learn from, especially even if they do unfortunately fall at that position. So this next hill, Faze actually get 12 points more than Surge, and then they get another good rotation into P2. So Faze just seem to be perfect at going from P1 to P2. And I think part of that is due to the fact they allow Surge to get some hill time.
Like in this series, it'd be coming back down 100. But as I'm talking through that, you go 4-10, and it's another.
A couple of good kills from Faze, and instantly they're spread out. Player number 2 backs up to make sure there's nobody spawned back here. But yeah, really good spread out spot. And you can see Selim's already applying this pressure towards Rock, forcing Surge to not only think about the current objective, but to think about new as well.
Surge obviously battling as well, but plucking them out of the map. Out of the hardpoint will be.
Now, Faze are at a point now where they're in such a lead, they can jump on the hill and get the odd 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there, because they're so close to winning. It forces Surge to be a little bit more aggressive. So, interestingly, at this point, if we consider the fact that Faze don't allow Surge to get any of P2, I think that'd be quite surprising. There's 20 seconds left of the current objective. Faze have no map control of the right-hand side. Surge have all the map control of the right-hand side. What do Surge fail to do, and what do Faze do well to flip this on its head completely? So that's what we're going to be looking at over this next couple of minutes now. How will Faze transition from P1 to P2? So Simp wins these gunfights. Player number 4, actually, that's an interesting route. Did player number 4 spawn there? No. So Selim actually finds a way all the way around. I'm looking at this player down here. All the way around here. And while Cell's in this area, any kills that Faze get are going to spawn Surge out. So the fact they didn't have they didn't account for anyone watching the left-hand side, anyone watching middle area, and watching right, has just forced Surge to spawn all the way out. And that one play from Selim has enabled Surge to spawn out, and it basically enables Faze to get a really good setup for the new objective. So P2 pops, they need 16 seconds left. You can see Faze have got someone on hill watching front. A couple of people, well, play number 1 and number 4 focus towards middle. Tries to get the assassination. But again, it's just they've just managed to secure this back spawn before Surge did, and that is as simple as it is. But then they've also set up correctly, managed to hold. They get the kills, and they're playing narrowly. They're playing narrowly now. They're not spread out as much as they used to be because they win in 3 seconds. They know Surge just have no time to go and take a. They have to bang out, and that's why you're seeing a slightly different setup now. And they're all just sort of focused on the front because they know that's the only way they can get it. So yeah, a lot to learn here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was 24 minutes actually. It's not bad. It was a quick game though. It was a bloody quick game. Yeah, a lot to learn from Faze. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully you've learned something, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.